Hey there. So before you get started, it's really important that you start with proper technique in order to avoid any injury or bad habits that might hold you back later on from playing with a sense of ease. So we're going to just talk a little bit about how to sit properly first. It's very important that you are aware of how you're sitting whenever you play, even if you're just hanging out around the fire. Just making sure that you're not going to be causing any tension or twisting of your spine as you're playing. Sit evenly on your sit bones, have even weight between both sides, and make sure your spine is straight, not arching one way or the other. So you want to pull your abs in and just make sure your shoulders are back and down and that you're not craning so much over your fretboard to be able to see. It's okay to look, but don't hunch over your guitar because that will cause a lot of pain in your upper back. And we also want to have one of your legs up on a stool or some books. I have a guitar stool. You can buy these for about $20, and I have it set at the second highest level. So I found that sitting with my left leg up on the stool in a more classical technique is better to avoid any tension in my upper back. So you can experiment with this, but the main practice is to have the neck of your guitar up at an angle, going maybe about a 45-degree angle up, in order to keep your wrist of your fretting hand safe. That means that we're not coming out like this with your wrist ever. So if you find that happening and your guitar is down here like this, that can cause a lot of carpal tunnel and injury. So we're going to just shake out your left hand, just kind of let it be really loose. You have a dead hand right now. And you're just going to turn it over, let it still be very relaxed, and imagine there is a droplet of water in your palm. And you don't want it to spill, so it's staying nice and level. Pull your elbow back towards your body and put your thumb on the back of the neck. So you'll notice my thumb is off to the side a little bit, slightly off center. That way I can keep my wrist at a little bit of an angle, and that way I can keep my wrist safe and push into my thumb, and that's where I can get the strength to push down my fingers on the fretboard. So let's just go ahead and fret the 6th string with your first finger on the 6th string, first fret. So this is the 6th string, and a lot of times people will think that that should be our first string because it's the one closest to our face, and that's not the case. Our first string is this small one that's closest to the floor. So go ahead and fret your first fret on the 6th string and just see what kind of sound you're getting. We'll do a little bit more work with this later. So we want to make sure you're pressing off the center of the fret. So kind of close to the metal, but not on the metal. It has a little bit less tension right there, closest to the fret, and so it's a little easier to push down. And we also want to push down with the very tip of your finger. It's a little closer to the bone there. And so you don't want to go right underneath the nail bed, but fairly close. So just experiment with that sound and be aware of any tension that you might be developing in your upper back as you're doing this. We want to make sure that the only things that are working are your finger and your thumb. The rest of your arm is just kind of hanging down. It's just really relaxed. Feel just the sense of ease and relaxation through your upper arm and shoulder and neck. So you're just pressing down just the fingers. Okay, now we're going to just shake out that hand, let it rest for a moment, and we're going to talk about technique with the right hand. You want to wrap your arm around the edge of where the top of your guitar meets the side, and my crease of my elbow is hugged in right there. You don't want to arch your shoulder forward to do this. So if your guitar's too big for you, you might find that you're kind of doing this, and that means your guitar is too big for you and you need to get a smaller guitar. Or you need to have more of an angle here. So it's not impossible to play with a large guitar, but make sure that your shoulder is still staying down. You don't want it up here like this. Okay, so hugged in, your crease of your elbows along the side of the guitar, and this is proper technique for the right arm. So now we're going to do a practice called tremolo picking with the right hand. And so begin with your wrists really nice and straight. You don't want it arched up like this. You don't want to be hunching your shoulder. So relax everything down and just see what kind of sound you're getting with this 6th string. So first off, let's just get used to your first finger. So you want to close that finger toward your palm, like I'm going to make a fist with the finger, but it's not going to go all the way there. You don't want to jerk out or move your wrist out, because then you have to find your string again, and that makes it a lot less efficient. So closing your finger toward your palm. Then let's try the 2nd finger. Same thing, closing that finger toward your palm. Great. And you want to tuck the other fingers in toward your palm loosely. And recently I've started having my students that are having trouble with this put a cotton ball in their hand. So it just holds it in there gently so that your fingers aren't coming out here and causing more tension to your hand. So it's less efficient that way as well. So tucking those fingers in. Now we're going to try both fingers. So you're making a little running person with your fingers. Good. So you can play it as quickly as you want or as slow as you want, but the main focus is to make sure that you are staying steady and keeping your fingers just going in one little rhythm. Let's try the next string down. This is the A. Let's do D. And G. B. And E. Great. So if that's causing any trouble or you're feeling like you're getting stuck on that string, you might be a little too far in, a little too far like toward your sound hole. So really just use the tip of your finger, and it's all about moving past the string. So you want to move, the string kind of just is in the way of its trajectory toward your palm. So don't feel like you have to really like do a whole lot of motion. It's really just moving those fingers. Okay, and so you might need more practice with this, and you could set a timer for 2 minutes and do this on each string and just kind of meditate on the sound of each string. So next we're going to talk about tuning the guitar. So we're going to start on the 1st string, and I have a little saying that will help you remember this. It's everybody goes dancing after eating. So E, B, G, D, A, E. Everybody goes dancing after eating. So just remember people going dancing after they eat, and you'll remember the string names.